So let's go ahead and start. All right, the meeting's got come to order. We'll try to get through these fairly quickly. You know how it works. If you ask any question you'd like to ask. We've got Judge William C. Goodwin. He's our first canon here. Yeah. Hey, Ben.
Right here.
All right, so we have Judge William C. Goodwin. And yes, sir, Delegate Klein, please tell us a little bit about him.
Mr. Chairman, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Judge Goodwin. He was appointed to the General District Bench 2 years ago? Okay, time goes by fast. 5 years ago, and has done a fantastic job. Is well regarded by the bar and by the public, and it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the legislative delegation to support him for the circuit judgeship.
All right, Judge Goodwin, welcome. Good to see you. And so, if it seemed like 2 years, but it's actually been 5, so that means you've been doing a really good job because time goes by fast when you're having fun.
Thank you.
So, you obviously have the support of your delegation. So, tell us, if you would, why it is you want to move up to circuit court, and we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I think the opportunities in circuit court to pay a little more attention to a particular case and the evidence and the law, and handle a case for some time instead of doing 50 traffic cases in 30 minutes. It's a whole different opinion, and I think that I am suited well to the judicial position, and I'd like to try the circuit court.
Very good. Are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions of Judge Goodwin? Yes, sir. Senator Overchain.
Mr. Chairman, not a question. I would just want to point out to the committee that Chap is really an outstanding judge. He's done a very good job on the General District Court bench. I don't represent the Augusta County area, but I do live 30 miles to the north and have an enormous interaction with the Augusta County Bar. He was a well-regarded member of the bar and well-regarded member of the judiciary. I think it's an outstanding choice by the members of the delegation, which I had no say whatsoever, but if I had, I would have concurred wholeheartedly.
Thanks.
Any other questions or statements in reference to Judge Goodwin?
I know we want to go quickly, but I have to ask, the mental health docket, how were you part of the initiation, and how's it going?
Well, it was an interesting situation. The head of the court services unit had been thinking about it apparently, and I read an article on it and was really taken with it because we have a huge mental health community in our area. We have Western State there, a very large prison and prisoner population and family of prisoners population. And so he and I started talking about it, and we went and visited a couple, and then we initiated the program, and it's just been overwhelming, but it's been really fulfilling. I think we've done good work for some of the people that we've run through. I think we've had 60 or 70 people in the 2 years we've been active. I'm on the Department of Mental Health and Behavioral Services. I'm on their committee on it, and I'm also on the Supreme Court Committee on Therapeutic Dockets and help develop the new guidelines that have just been published. And it's been very rewarding to me, and I think that it's a really good program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Judge Goodwin? Senator, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Did you have
something?
something?
Vouch for this fine judge.
Very good.
He just, hopefully that will hurt your reputation.
He's just joshing, Judge. All right, well, there being no other questions, Judge Goodwin, thank you for coming down today. Thank you for your service to the Commonwealth, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Safe travels back, 81. Next person is Reuben Shaw. Did I pronounce that right? Mr. Shaw, come on forward. All right, Senator.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce a friend of Deli Klein out from the Valley who has quite a bit of experience with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office there and who has offered up his name for a position with the General District Court. And I will either support his candidacy or oppose it, whichever helps you all the best. He's a friend, and I think he would do a great job on that court.
Delegate Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Shaw has been a very effective prosecutor for many years in Augusta County and is well regarded by defense bar and by the prosecutorial community as well, and would do a great job in the General District Court. Thank you.
Very good. Where's the General District position sit typically? Where does it sit typically?
It's in the 25th district, and usually it's in the Stanton and Augusta.
Okay, very good. All right, well, so Mr. Shaw, tell us why you want to become a judge.
Well, first of all, Chairman, I thank you for taking time to interview me here today and all the honorable members. I've been prosecutor for 20-some years now, almost 20 years. I've been chief deputy in Augusta. And during that process, I've done capital murder cases, petty larcenies, 19 years and some odd months, if you're calculating that. But I had volunteered before some, so. But during that process, I've done all kinds of cases. During this 20-year term, I have prosecuted thousands of felony cases and thousands of misdemeanor cases. And during that process of prosecuting, I've done that as an administrator of justice, making the decisions based on facts of the case, based on the law, and I've been fair to defendants as well as the victims. And in implementing those, I've learned to be fair and impartial, and I can use that experiment and the knowledge on the bench, and I would appreciate the opportunity.
Can I ask you a question?
You're the chair.
All right, thanks. So I'm just looking at that you fill out this questionnaire.
Yes, sir.
So it looks like to me, as I'm looking through this, did you own a restaurant or something at some point?
Years back, I did.
Okay, so before you ever went to law school and all that, you were in private enterprise. I mean, you were a regular citizen.
I was.
Okay. And you did that for like 12 years. Was that in the Augusta area or somewhere else?
It was in Augusta at the mall.
Okay, very good. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good thing. Okay, because you know how to talk to the people. Okay, yes, sir.
I got a question.
It wasn't an Italian restaurant.
I'm Greek, so it's good. Greek Indian food.
I have a question. We oftentimes elevate individuals to judges from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office a lot of times, and one thing that's a concern sometimes is that the term reasonable doubt. There are some people who are charged that are sometimes innocent. So I just wanted to make sure that that as you move into this judgeship, that you not only listen to the officer, but you also listen to the defense side of the argument.
And I'm very well aware of it. I can give you one example. I was doing an incest case, and the girl was blaming the stepfather. We charged the stepfather. The DNA results when the child was born was of the real father. And we ended up not crossing the charge against the stepfather and charged the father. So I have dealt with the cases of that serious nature, and I'm very much aware of those facts.
Any other questions for Mr. Shaw? So, Mr. Shaw, just along those lines, I do think, the reason why I asked the question is I do think it's important that since the bulk of your legal career has been as a prosecutor, that you've had experiences in other places being a quote-unquote normal person, because you understand that, you know, not everybody's a criminal. And so, anyway, you've got good people here standing up here vouching for you, and you've been serving our community for a long time. We appreciate that, and we'll look forward to your good service on the General District Bench.
Mr.
Good to see
Chairman.
you. Yes?
Just, if I may, very briefly, add the same comments with respect to Mr. Shaw that I added with respect to Mr. Goodwin. I am 30 miles up the road. I know Mr. Shaw. He does a super job as in the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office, and I can tell you, he does understand the principle of reasonable doubt, and I think he'll be an outstanding member of the judiciary.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Chairman.
We'll look forward to your service. Next person is Duncan Minton. I guess Senator starting. I'm going to turn the gavel over and walk down.
Senator Sturtevant.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, it is my pleasure to introduce Duncan Minton to the committee today to serve on the JDR bench in Chesterfield County and Colonial Heights. Mr. Minton is the Chief Deputy Commonwealth Attorney in Spotsylvania County, but prior to that served for about 15 years as Deputy Commonwealth Attorney in Chesterfield County in the JDR court, where he will now, with the court's blessing, go and serve on the bench.
Thank you, Senator. Delegate Lupasi.
I just want to just reiterate what the Senator just said. Duncan was viewed very favorably and is a consensus candidate for our judicial district. Known him for a long time. He's going to be a superb jurist. He understands the law very well and will do a great job. Good demeanor and good person.
Mr. Minton, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you would take a brief minute to tell us a little bit about yourself and your reason for offering your service as a member of the judiciary on the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court.
I've been practicing law for a little over 20 years. I started in private practice down in Petersburg and did a lot of work with juveniles in that respect. I was in the family law as well as general practice. I was a guardian ad litem. When I went into prosecution, I have been almost exclusively in the juvenile court since that time. I've done an awful lot of work with the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. In fact, for the Commonwealth Attorney Services Council, we made a training especially for prosecutors in the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court and the special challenges that court presents. So I think at this point I'm ready to take the next step, go on the bench, and I think I can contribute to the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Mr. Minton? Hearing none, that's a good thing, and I would only add that the only blemish on your record that I see is that you spent a few years in a certain law office of a Richard H. Stewart in Montrose, Virginia. But other than that, your record looks exemplary.
I can show you the scars from that if you'd like.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. Well, let me just say thank you for your willingness to accept this responsibility. I truly believe that the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court, I've never practiced there. I have no desire to be a judge there. I just thank God that there are people like you who are willing to do that, because I think it is really one of the hardest jobs in the judiciary, and I'm grateful for your willingness to serve in that capacity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This next one's ours.
Next candidate is Claire Cardwell. Senator Sturtevant.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, it's my pleasure to introduce Claire Cardwell to serve on the bench of the Richmond City General District Court. Ms. Cardwell is an attorney in the Richmond area with about 30 years of experience. She's a former chief deputy prosecutor in the Richmond Commonwealth Attorney's Office, but is known widely in the Richmond metro area and around the state as one of the top criminal defense lawyers. And she is also a consensus candidate of the Richmond delegation, someone who is very highly regarded and who I know has the temperament and the demeanor and the knowledge to serve very capably on the Richmond General District Court bench.
Thank you, Senator. Delegate Lupasi.
I would agree with everything that Senator Sturtevant just said. I've known Claire for probably a quarter of a century. We worked together in the prosecutor's office. She's a chief homicide prosecutor. She's probably prosecuted, I would imagine, more homicides than any person in the history of the state. She's also been a prominent defense attorney. She's a professor at the University of Richmond for the last probably 15 years or so. She's an incredible personality, extremely intelligent. It's going to be great on the bench. She's got a good demeanor, and she will do a fantastic job, and she's extremely qualified.
Well, Ms. Cardwell, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for offering yourself and your service as a member of the judiciary. Would you mind taking just a minute to give a little further introduction of yourself and give us a little bit of detail as to why you are interested in the election for this position on the General District Court?
I'd be happy to, and thank you for having me. I'm older than Manoli, which is why I've been in practice for more than 30 years, and we actually work together, and it's been a delight. I've spent all of those 32 years in the courtroom almost on a daily basis, and I've had a chance to serve the privilege of serving as substitute judge for about 5.5 years, and I found it to be really invigorating to have a different perspective in the courtroom, to be the person who's receiving the arguments as opposed to making them. It's just a new role, and that's exciting for me. On a loftier level, I think the district court is such an important bench because there are people who go to district court that don't ever go to court anywhere else. They might go one time, and I think the judge is the face of the judicial system for a lot of people, and it's just so important that we put a very good face on that, especially in light of all sorts of things that are going on. So that's what my interest is, and I think it's just a very important public service.
Well, Ms. Cardwell, thank you very much. Any member of the committee have any questions for Ms. Cardwell? Hearing none, that's a good thing. You make an excellent point. You on the General District Court will be the face of the judiciary to the public, whether it's the system of elections or judicial system. They are successful only as long as citizens of our Commonwealth have confidence in them. And for those who enter the doors of your courtroom, that confidence is going to be measured on the basis of your performance as a member of the judiciary and your performance as a judge in that courtroom. So I just want to say thank you for accepting that responsibility. Thank you for putting your name forward and your willingness to serve. Good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you so much.
Anything further?
No, Mr. Chairman, we don't have a quorum to vote on each side, so.
We're not. For the Senate, we're planning to meet at the at my desk tomorrow during session, at which time we'll have a short meeting of the Courts of Justice Committee, at which time we will take up certification of these candidates and the candidates who were interviewed in December. So for the Senate side, that's going to take place tomorrow.
We don't have a quorum for the House either, so I'll talk to Albo and figure out, we'll probably do at the desk, today or Friday.
We can't do that. We go to the desk tomorrow.
Well, we'll meet in the anteroom or something like that. We'll call them in the House.
All right. Anything further? Nothing further. Committee will rise. I love doing that in the House committee.
Do it well, Senator. Thank you, John.